The girl accidentally wears it in the abusive novel she wrote, became the heroine. He was imprisoned by his hero for several days. To survive, he had to expose the man's prison to his face. Not only is he pretending, you know all about him, although temporarily saved, but it made the male protagonist completely doubt his identity. However, Yi Xiaoyu, who has been imprisoned for several days, is extremely hungry, but the male protagonist deliberately swallowed it in front of him and asked him to explain why he knows this. But I don't know the rice grains left on the corners of my lips. It's a great temptation for Yi Xiaoyu. Sure enough, driven by instinct, Yi Xiaoyu directly pulled it up in one bite, and still say delicious. Will leave the warehouse unbelievably in place. Such a clear move. It has completely consumed his heart. He reached out and grabbed the other person's neck. Fei Wang is still as stubborn as before. At this time, he still refuses to say anything. If you dare to play any tricks again, I don't mind sending the princess to the secret room to recuperate. Less than bitter. He's just hungry. I don't have the strength to think about anything else at all. But the current male protagonist is obviously angry with his personality. Just a little harder. I'm afraid I can only be paralyzed in bed for the rest of my life. Yi Xiaoyu sobbing. I said it all. The man slowly withdrew his palm. I'm not in the mood to play with you slowly. I don't want to hear another word of nonsense. The man's tone was full of warning. Leafy fish panting heavily, holding his aching neck. It seems he has to think normal. An explanation that makes the male protagonist happy. Yi Xiaoyu tried to remember the plot. His novel. There are a lot of places that are passing by. If you add a little story now, it should work. So he said that his mother was sick all year round. So he was the same age. The husband learned some techniques for diagnosing pulse relationships. Prince Ning is usually out of breath. Cough. But that night when we slept together, the prince's breath is even and his pulse is steady after falling asleep. Signs are normal and healthy. Man's eyes droop. How did you know about Marquis Weiwu? Sweating leaf fish. Due to excessive hunger. As a result, he is now dizzy and weak, unable to think. And he was holding on, thinking about how to explain this problem. Moments later, he said he overheard it by accident. His Majesty and the prince have not been recalled yet. Me that day, I wanted to send soup and medicine to my sick uncle, but accidentally heard the Supreme Emperor and uncle playing. The emperor is worried that the young master is ascending the throne. It will be avenged later. The uncle said that if he has the heart of a Lang son, the sword must be in hand first. And the mighty queen with 70,000 heavy troops. It can be used as the ear of the hookfish. Yi Xiaoyu tried hard to make up in his mind. I smelled a wisp of medicine in the prince's study a few days ago. It is the same as the soup and medicine eaten by the Supreme Emperor. Guess, the test prince must have known that the Supreme Emperor was now sick. Heavy plus mansion. There are surnames with a Linzhou accent in recent days. Shaijin exits the carriage and carriage house. So naturally guess these things. Leafy fish without a trace of strength. The whole person is lying on the ground. Men don't pay. I didn't expect my princess to be so blue-hearted. With bits and pieces of information, you can piece together the whole picture. Isn't it easy? Don't look at the man weakly. I don't know if this explanation is worth eating. Zhang Likong suddenly raised his chin and looked at each other with scrutinizing eyes. I want to make sure he's lying. How to expect the next second? Yi Xiaoyu collapsed on him powerlessly. He straightened Rakura's body slightly, then put the bowl of porridge in front of him. You can eat now. At this moment, he decided not to pursue further questions. Let's wait until he gets better. If you really starve to death, it will be a trouble. Yi Xiaoyu has never felt like a bowl of porridge can be so delicious. After regaining some strength, he suddenly had a smirk on his face. The prince doesn't ask. How did I find out about Wu Wei? What about the Ho Wu girl? The man twitched his face and didn't answer, after a cold snort, and left the room without looking back. Haha, I like people so much. Don't even mention it. The next second, Yi Xiaoyu will be in place. His throat can't make a sound. This bastard actually put dumb medicine in the porridge. Discard the remaining medicinal powder from the pear warehouse outside the door. This woman talks too much. I don't want anything to go wrong next. Send someone to keep an eye on him. Yi Xiaolong, who can't speak at the moment. After calming down, I made a plan to move the pear warehouse. This time you're dead.